What's going on, beautiful people? Jesse Moon here.
Mark Casera.
And welcome to the Legacy Syndicate podcast. Now, this is episode number 7. We're going to be talking about two big subjects that's going on in middle-class America right now, and that is your limits and beliefs and how you can get to the next level. And
we're going to talk a little bit about real estate and the money game. So hopefully you stay tuned to the end. Guys, if you see value in this podcast, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, click that thumbs up notification, and drop a comment so you can engage in this conversation as well. Obviously, we want more of you guys taking part in the conversation so we can really talk about what you guys want to hear about. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know what you want to talk about. Any questions that you have, go ahead and drop in the comment section. We'll make sure we get them answered either on the next one, or actually we might just do a podcast of Q&A.
Why not?
Because a lot of people have financial questions.
Well, we got a group with over 4,000 members, and there's lots of questions in that group. We may just compile all the questions we've gotten over the last couple months and do a Q&A. And I think that's good content for people.
The link's in the description, right?
Link is in the description if you want to join our free group. We don't charge for it. Come and get free financial education and join the party, because we're growing a massive movement. We call it a movement because we really want men and women alike to join together to get unified under one kind of general theme and topic, and that's financial education, financial literacy. And I think we as people need to do better with our finances, middle class America especially, because what do they say? He who controls what?
Your money controls you and the decisions that you make in your life.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we don't want people controlling our money. We want to be able to control our own money. We especially don't want the government controlling our money. Is that right?
That's right. And here's the craziest thing. I sat with 2 clients. One right before we hopped on this podcast, and one was yesterday here in the office. The client yesterday, we're not going to name any names, obviously, but I sat with him. He said, I'm a business owner. My business yields about $1 million in profit per year after overhead. Take home is about $324,000. He said, I haven't paid taxes in over 2 years. What can I do? I said, there's nothing I can do to help you out.
Oh, man.
It's you look good in an orange jumpsuit.
Oh, no.
I'm playing. So it's just people don't know about they hear the word tax and they're scared.
Yeah.
Because they know as an employee that 50% of all the money they make goes to the government in the form of taxes. And I said with a gentleman today, he said, listen, I'm a veteran. I run 6 businesses. We need fast cash. He said, but we haven't been taking advantage of all the tax advantages that we have as business owners. So we're looking for guidance.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how much money you have, how little money you have. You've got to learn a little bit about taxes, because becoming wealthy is just shifting money around to minimize the taxes you have to pay to the government legally. Legally, guys. But we're going to talk about a little bit about that here today, guys. But I first want to talk about limits and beliefs. I see a lot of people in the world that have all the potential. See, we get that DNA of a king running through our blood. So I know we were put on earth to win, put on earth to succeed. But somewhere, I don't know what it is, but told us that we weren't capable of it. Mm. What do you think it is? Or what do you think is pressing upon us to tell us, hey, you're not good enough?
Yeah, well, when I was growing up, money was evil. Money was evil to us. And, it was my mom that really, she was working job to job and, just trying to provide for us. But we were always broke, never had a good Christmas, never had good, holidays. And it was all because of, I think, the way that she grew up, right? Because it was her parents that struggled as well. And I think she developed that over time. And it gave her a limiting belief, which then she translated to me and gave me a limiting belief. Gotcha. And so money was evil. Those who had money always looked down upon you. And that's kind of how we grew up. You know what I mean? And, we lived in one of the richest cities in the country, believe it or not. Greenwich, Connecticut. That's where I grew up. Born and raised in Greenwich. For those of you who don't know, Greenwich is like the 3rd wealthiest city in the entire country. It's kind of up there with like 90210. It's like we're the rich wives of, what was their movie? There was a movie a while ago about the rich wives, and
there's a lot of TV shows.
The rich, I don't know. It was all based around Greenwich, Connecticut. So even though we were in the richest part of the country, we still had a broke mindset because we were in the poorer part of town, just living paycheck to paycheck. And so, man, limiting beliefs, I brought that with me for the rest of my life. I brought that with me up until just a few years ago,
What do you feel pressed upon you? Was it that people told you the wealthy look down upon you, or is that something you actually saw? Or did you take that belief from somebody else?
It was something that, I'm going to be honest, I never really saw it. I never saw it. I never saw a wealthy person look down upon us, but you always heard about it, right? And you always saw the TV shows that would tell you, and it would like be very convincing, especially to a child. You watch the movies like Scrooge, right?
Yep.
Where he goes through and he sees all these wealthy people, and then so he's taking advantage of the poor people, right? And then you see movies and even cartoons growing up, that always portray the person with the most money as the one that takes advantage of all the other people,
That money is power.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a similar way. I wasn't in a wealthy country. It was a place called Anderson, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And we didn't grow up with a good money blueprint. I always thought money was for the people I was watching on TV, and I never thought money was for me. And so growing up, we're having conversations about making $50,000 per year, $100,000 per year was out of this world. And then now I understand that even as an adult, somebody says, hey, I have an opportunity where I can show you how to make $250,000. I'm like, that must be a scam.
Yeah.
That's not for me, right? So did anything happen to you, like where somebody you saw an opportunity, but you thought it was so far to your reach that you automatically thought that, hey, that's not for me. I'm not ready.
My whole entire life. I think with the limiting beliefs, you're afraid of success, right? Because you're afraid of money and what money can do, and you don't want money to. In the end, you don't want money to create like this bad person, right? And a lot of people think it's it's money that creates evil, right? Or it's the love of money that creates evil, right?
So you grew up in the church, right?
I grew up in the church, yeah.
I grew up in the church as well, in the Bible Belt. And they said, what's the root of all evil?
Yeah.
Money is the root of all evil.
But we know it's not.
We know it's not.
It's the love and I also say the lust of money. That desire to have more and more and more, and to hold it for yourself. I think that's the worst part about it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where we grew up, And how did that affect you when it came to doing successful things in your life?
Well, I did what everybody said to do. Go to school, get a job, work for 40 hours per week for 40 years for 40% retirement. And unfortunately, it took me 16 years to realize that I was overworked and underpaid. And I had the awards, I had the accolades, I had the master's degrees, but my bank account didn't reflect my work ethic. And being a father of 7 kids and being married, told my wife, I said, listen, if I ever want to get paid what I'm worth, every successful person I know, they're either a business owner or an entrepreneur, I got to get out of the military. So that really made me start looking outside of and challenging the status quo. Right? They told me this, what should I be doing, really? Yeah. So I knew I was meant for something greater. I always had that gut feeling there's got to be something else, and just waking up every day, going and doing the same thing for the next 40 years. That's not. And that's
what we're taught. We're taught to go to school. Our parents say, go to school, get a good job, work for 40 hours a week for 40 years, and retire on 40% of your income. And that's the American dream. And that's what we're supposed to like desire and crave. And at the end of the day, we know it because we see it every single day when we're dealing with these people, even people that would be considered good money in their retirement, and they're still living paycheck to paycheck, and they're not having enough money to survive on. And we know that when they do retire, they're not going to have enough money to live on.
They don't even realize it. A young lady I just got off of a meeting with, I think you were sitting outside the office. She worked for the same company for 24 years, and she has $100,000. Think about it. 24 years, she has $100,000 saved up, and she's getting ready to retire. But then we start talking about, 4% rule, 2.8% rule, where she can't take out more than 4% of her nest egg to ensure she doesn't run out of money too soon.
Now, would you do us a favor and just break down the 4% rule? Let us know what that's all about.
Well, there's a gentleman by the name of Bill Benjen, okay? And you know how like in the movie, what is it, The Avengers? What's the last Avengers movie?
Was it Endgame?
Endgame, yep. So you see Doctor Strange, he's levitating and he's like trying to run all these different scenarios of how they can actually win, and only came out with one scenario. Well, Bill Benjen did the same exact thing. He said, you guys are trying to to use formulas. He said, but let's use math. So he ran over 100,000 different simulations on how you could have over a 90% probability of not running out of money too soon. Because when the 401k was created in the mid-70s, 1978, they were saying, okay, if you just take out the average rate of return, 8 to 10%, how likely is it that they will run out of money too soon? He says, so, okay, after all of my formulas that I ran, all the different scenarios, he came up with one number, 4%. So if you want over 90% probability of not running out of money too soon, you can't take out more than 4% of your nest egg every year to ensure you don't run out of money too soon.
So that's like saying if we have $1 million in our retirement and we're ready to retire, we can't take more than, let's just 4%. Say $40,000 in any given year without potentially being in danger of running out of our money before we die.
And then you got to pay taxes on it.
And then if it's a tax deferred product like a 401k, we have to pay taxes.
Yes.
So what's like average taxes we have to pay? 20%, 30%.
Well,
kind of in between.
Well, the first $27,000 of income you're not paying taxes on, and then the next $22,000 you're paying, or the next $14,000 you're paying 10% taxes, and then between $40,000 and $60,000 now it's 22% tax. So it's like step level on how. So average, I'd say about 25 to 30%, including state taxes, stuff of that nature.
So I'm 40 in 50, 60, another 25 years from now, I want to take out 4%. What do you think my tax rate is going to be in 40 years? Let's say, 20, 25 years from now.
I'm not even going to try to guess that because I know taxes are going to be higher. We're in $32 trillion worth of debt. Yeah. As long as the government keeps printing off money, taxes are going to increase.
Right.
There's only one way to minimize the taxes. It's either to take budget cuts or increase the taxes.
So what you guys need to know is that right now in our current economy, we're at one of the lowest tax brackets in history. And so back in the 70s and the 60s, taxes were super, super, super high. We're talking 80% tax brackets for the highest earners. And what happens was they developed these 401ks not to be a long-term financial product, but more to be a short-term product to get rid of or to kind of hedge against those high tax rates, right? And so right now, we're at the lowest place in history as far as taxes. They're bound, almost 90% chance that they're going to go up. Now, obviously, we don't have a crystal ball. We can't tell what the future is going to hold. But if history will repeat itself like it normally does, in 20, 30 years from now, we're going to be at a higher tax bracket.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm in 100% agreement with you. So you got to get your money right, guys. You got to get your money right. It's think about this. If you're driving your car down the road and you hear some knocking, clink, 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 guess what you're going to do? You're going to do exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to Google it. Hey, what's it mean when my car is making this noise? You're going to Google it, but you're not going to try to be the mechanic. You're not going to try to fix it, go buy the tools to fix it. You're going to take it to a mechanic. They're going to diagnose the problem. They're going to give you a solution. They're going to fix it for you. Okay. Same thing with your money. If your money's broken, if your bank account's broken, you got to get it fixed. Stop trying to fix it on your own. Stop trying to ask your broke friends for advice. They're broke. And if you ask them for advice, you're going to be broke right beside them, guys. So go to a money doctor, guys. Go to somebody who specializes in this, not just somebody who heard from somebody else, but go and get your financial brokenness diagnosed, get you a prescription, and move in the right direction to get your money on point, guys.
Yeah, and that's just another segue into our group. The group that we have, we're just dropping bombs all day long and just trying to provide as much value as we can to people. So, and it's not that we know everything because we're students of our business. We're constantly learning as well. But it's a community that we can draw together and at least share what we're learning along the way.
Absolutely. As people are mentally broken, physically broken, emotionally broken, financially broken, and they all play into one another. I know when your money's not right, your mindset's definitely not going to be right. And I think that's where a lot of these limits and beliefs go. And I tell people it's like 80% of the stress a human being carries with them is financial stress. Mm-hmm. And if we can educate middle-class America on how money works and how money grows and teach them the rules of the money game, they're going to be better mothers, better fathers, better, friends.
Yeah.
And that's how we change the world.
Yeah, yeah. Money is one of the things that tears most people apart. Money is something that tears most families apart. Most marriages fail because of
financial stress,
lack of financial education, whether you have some type of medical issue and you have to pay medical bills and you just don't have enough money to do it and you got to borrow money. I mean, that causes a lot of stress on people.
Let me ask you a question, Mark. Out of the last 100 decisions you and your wife had to make together, how many of them had to deal with money?
Almost all of them. I mean, like 80% of them,
That's it.
Because it's around kids, whether we're going to put our kids in private school right now, that's $20,000 a year. Whether we're going to get hire a full-time coach for our fitness, that's another, $1,000. There's a lot of decisions around money that we're making on a regular basis. And, man, I'm just so thankful that we got involved in a business that has given us the opportunity to make enough money to be able to breathe and make these decisions without, really to make these decisions, because there was a day where we wouldn't even think about doing anything outside of our tight little budget because we couldn't afford it. But now, food's less of a concern. Gas is less of a concern right now. And it's not that we're rich or, we're like living this luxurious life, but at least we're at a place where we're a little more comfortable because we've learned to develop a better money blueprint over time.
Yeah. I remember those days when you're walking through the grocery store. So you check your bank account balance before you go into the grocery store. Before you go to the checkout, you check your balance again to make sure nothing was drafted before you check out. And then you still get declined. You're like, my wife took my credit card. I'll be back.
It's so true, man. So true. You go to a restaurant, you look at what is it, the right side of the menu or the left side?
The food's on the left, the money's on the right.
There you go. Or you turn it over to the back and you look at the chicken sandwiches, right? Yeah. Just to make sure you can afford it, right?
Or you go to a restaurant where there's not even prices on the menu.
It's we're laughing about it right now, and it's humorous in a way, but it's also very serious too, because there's a lot of people maybe watching right now that may be living paycheck to paycheck. They may be living broke. They may be living like they can't go to a restaurant, and my heart, I feel for that. I feel for that person that is needing a little more income in their life, needing some supplemental, needing a way to break free from that generational curse that has been over their life because of lack of discipline maybe, and maybe their parents didn't teach them. What would you say to a person like that?
Stop blaming everything on your damn mom and dad.
Yeah.
You're a grown man. You're a grown woman nowadays.
You got to take responsibility.
You got to take responsibilities and change it. And if you didn't get a money blueprint passed down to you, you got to create a better money blueprint for future generations. And that's where we were talking about on the last episode is
legacy.
Is legacy and the intellectual knowledge. It's not really a curse, but it's just a lack of knowledge is not being passed down.
Right.
And if I don't know if we want to get into this, but I'm going to get into this. So back in the day when there was slavery back in the day, and there was where I forget the name, but the slave owner's wife was reading to the kids, and the owner came in and said, "Stop reading to the kids. They were reading the Bible," and the slave owner's wife was reading the Bible to the kids. And the day that the slave owner said, "Stop reading that to the kids," that's the day it switched. I need to learn how to read. Knowledge is power, guys. And when you know how to take the power, apply the knowledge that you're learning and implement it into your life's going to forever change. But you got to first identify that there's a problem. Awareness is key. Identify there's a problem, and then you're going to identify the possible solutions, and then you pick a solution and implement the solution. Stop blaming everybody else. Stop being a freaking victim and go out there and get what is rightfully yours, and take dominion over your family, over your life, over future generations are going to come from you, Mark. Come from you. So Mark,
powerful stuff,
what do you feel about take dominion? I know we're doing a legacy movement series in church, and it's always about take dominion, and legacies. What is it with you? Because we have a lot of kids.
Yeah,
you have a lot of kids.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of kids together. I'm married with my family. We
I got my
seven.
own kids.
He's got his wife
But
and his
together
kids.
we got.
But together it's like 12, 13 kids, right?
Yeah.
And so leaving a legacy is critical to us. But for you and your kids, what are some things that you're implementing to make sure that your kids don't have the same limited beliefs that we had growing up? How are you pouring into them?
So I think leaving a legacy and leaving the right financial blueprint to your family is so important. We have to, like Jesse said, take responsibility for our actions. We might have come from a broken home. We might have come from divorced parents. We might have come from an abusive relationship, but that doesn't stop us from changing the direction of our entire life. And that doesn't stop us from passing down the correct habits, principles, morals, ethics, and values to our family and to our kids. And that's what we're fighting for every single day. I came from a broken family. I came from two parents that were completely, dysfunctional. I came from families that were doing crazy things. My mom passed away from alcoholism and drug addiction, but that stopped here. The buck stopped here. I stopped that in my life, and I'm not passing that down to my kids. It's the same thing with financial responsibility as well. We take responsibility for what we know and what we don't know now. And if we don't know it, we need to go and figure it out. The internet is so enormous. There's so much knowledge and wisdom out there. We just have to know the right inputs, with the right prompts to ask. Now it's ChatGPT, but it used to be Google, and just figuring out what to ask Google or what to ask YouTube and how to figure it out. That, guys, that comes down to just being a man, stepping it up, being a woman, stepping it up, and doing your job to be a better human being.
That's it. You're dropping bombs over here, Mark. And the gentleman I was talking about is Frederick Douglass.
There you go.
Frederick Douglass. When he learned how to read, he associated reading with freedom, knowledge with freedom, and that was key into the growth of where America is today.
And that's all they had back then was books, right?
Correct.
Now we have the freaking World Wide Web, and now ChatGPT, AI.
I think it's dumbing us down a little bit, but that's a conversation for.
That's another episode.
Researchability is a skill in itself that all leaders possess. But we need more leaders in this world to take ownership and not just, it's like, for example, I'm a people watcher. Yeah. And if I see somebody walk by a piece of paper that's on the ground, we know it's littered. We know it shouldn't be there. I see how many people actually walk by it because they automatically think somebody else is going to pick it up. Instead of taking leadership and saying, you know what, let me pick it up and leading by example.
Yeah. That's something my dad taught me the same thing.
Yeah, I see it in our office. I can tell who's a renter, who's not a renter inside of our office. Mm-hmm. If they pick it up, that means they got some skin in the game. If they don't pick it up, that means they don't pay any money. There's no skin in the game. It's not theirs. Yeah. So they got to take ownership. But take ownership of your life, guys. Ladies, kids, take ownership of your life because it's not just about you. It's about everybody else that's surrounding themselves with you. Become that person, that man, that woman, that young adult that says, you know what, I want to become somebody. And everybody that surrounds themselves around me are going to be better off for it. And this is very freeing when you actually become who you were meant to be, or you start down that path of becoming who you were meant to be. We let the thoughts and opinions of other people hold us back. Yeah, we do. It's I will tell you this: we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs, and we talk to a lot of people every single day, Mark. Mm-hmm. People that say, I would like to start a business, but I would like to do this, but I would like to do this, but, and they're making all these freaking excuses on why they can't succeed. Mm-hmm. And I tell people, who told you that you weren't good enough? Mm-hmm. Who told you that you were too busy? All right. We all have 168 hours in a day. And think about that. We all have 168 hours in a day. You work for 40 hours per week. You sleep for 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day. Now, let's say you shower for an hour per day. You still have over 60 hours left at the end of the week. What are you doing with that time that you have? So true. Don't tell me you're too busy, guys. It's just you will make time for things that are important to you. That means your success is not important to you, and you'd rather give your time, energy, and effort to video games or television shows or, doing something that's not going to get you in that direction to become financially free. True. And that'll actually help or hurt your self-confidence, your
even your belief system, right? If all you do is spend your days scrolling TikTok, well, your limiting beliefs are going to grow because you're going to compare yourself to everybody else that you see online. But if you develop yourself and you're reading books and you're listening to podcasts and you're developing yourself mentally and educationally, it's going to help your belief system. It's going to decrease the limits that you put on your belief system as well.
Mark, I want to talk about this. I know this wasn't planned, but I want to talk about it. There's an article, and we both posted the same article on our Facebook platform. They said a third of families earning $250,000 live paycheck to paycheck. And I was disgusted by the comments. Like literally, I felt sad for the world and America because of the comments. And I'm going to read off some of the comments. They don't know the economy, think they're rich. Wow, amazing since I make less than a third of that. So the article reads, once again, a third of families earning $250,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Okay? So that's insane. Yeah, save your money. Not because it's not enough money. They make poor financial decisions. Okay, so potentially poor financial decisions. Cool. Let's see this. What? That means they're living well beyond their means. If this is true, that's because they're living well beyond their means. Just have to live within your means. A millionaire is a new middle class. Okay, somebody who is a opposing view.
But I like to say, because I had the same article I posted on my feed, I must have had 200 comments.
Yep.
98% of the comments were people living paycheck to paycheck, people that were broke, arguing against how stupid people are that make $250K a year are if they're living paycheck to paycheck as well. And I'm like blown away by it, because we know people that are living paycheck to paycheck and they're not living frivolous lives. They're not overextending their budgets. It's because, maybe you made $100K for the last 6 years of your life and you got a pay raise and now you're making a little bit more. Well, naturally your lifestyle is going to grow to meet your what you're bringing in. But it's not that you're doing anything bad. It's just that, it's crazy because people want us to be poor. That's the mindset that most people have.
Yeah.
If I'm poor, you need to be poor. You can't make any more money than I can, or else you're an idiot.
Well, this is the thing. You hit the nail on the head when you said, just because you get a pay increase, it doesn't mean you're going to save more.
Correct.
People are going to spend more.
Mm-hmm. That's natural.
Here we go. You ready for this? This is going to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to hurt. So you're saying that somebody making $250,000 that's living paycheck to paycheck is living beyond their means. Let's say you're making $50,000. You're about to get a $10,000 tax refund. What are you going to do with the money? Are you going to save it? Are you going to invest it to grow it? Or are you going to go buy that new big screen TV? Are you going to go buy that new car? Are you going to upgrade your zip code? What are you going to do with that money? Because if you go out there and blow that money, guess what? You're just as dumb as the person making $250,000 because you lack financial discipline. You can make as much money as you want to make or as little money as you want to make. But here's the problem. If you're making less than $250,000 in America, guess what? That's minimum wage, guys. It's your fault. Wherever you currently are financially, it's because you deserve to be there. It is a reflection of all the decisions you made up until this point. Listen, I haven't always believed this. It wasn't until I became an entrepreneur, I became a business owner, I started learning how money works and how money grows. I used to be in your area. Remember, guys, I made $88,000 per year in the military. Had the awards, I had the accolades. We were living paycheck to paycheck on $88,000. I know some of you would be like, ugh, I wish I could make $88,000. 7 kids. They eat $2,500 per month in food.
Listen. If I made any less than $100,000, I don't even know if I'd be broke right now. I'd be completely broke. And because we got 6 kids, we got a grandbaby, groceries up, gas prices are up, taxes are up, right? So if you're living on $60,000 a year and you're doing it and you're making it, kudos to you, because you're doing it very, very well. But not many people are doing that. Most people, think about this, more money in history was printed during the 2022 or the 2020 pandemic into 2021 than it has over the last 80 years.
Over 75% of the actual money was.
And think about that. People got thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. Where is it?
What they do with
Where is it? What's the percentage of people putting money in their savings right now? It's almost nothing. There's an issue right now in our economy that people lack savings. There's a lack of financial discipline. You took that stimulus and you went out and stimulated the economy. That's exactly what you did.
Yep.
A very small portion of people kept that money in their bank account.
They did. So 79% of America is living paycheck to paycheck. On Black Friday of 2020, when we were entering the pandemic, $9 billion was spent on Black Friday by middle-class America. $9 billion. You're living paycheck to paycheck, but you're finding money, or you're finding ways to spend money on things you don't need with money you don't have. In 2021, it was $19 billion.
Wow.
$19 billion. In 2022, it was $31 billion. Guys, why are you blowing your money?
Yeah.
Multiply it. Become fruitful with it. So let's do some math. So the average rent in America is what? Average rent in America. What'd you say?
Anywhere $1,800 to $2,300 per month.
Okay, let's say $1,800. We're going to lowball
Keep it
it.
conservative.
$1,800 times 12 months is $21,000 a year. Okay, so how much are you spending on food per month?
Well, it depends on the size of family that you have. But us, let's just say you have 5 to 6 kids.
You're actually eating healthy food, not McDonald's dollar menu.
Correct. Yeah, that's maybe $1,500 a month, $1,000 a month.
I'll put $1,000 a month. So that's plus $12,000. How much is health insurance?
Was it $500 a month for most families?
About,
$200 to $500
about
a
$500
month?
per month. So what's that? $6,000. So it's at 1,200 plus 12,000.
Yep.
Plus 6. So that right there.
That right there is $40,000.
$40,000.
And most people don't make more than $40,000, $50,000. What's the median income right now? $56,000.
$56,000. So
that leaves zero room for saving, zero room for investing, zero rooms for anything else, let alone if you're a God-fearing person and you want to put 10% away in tithe.
And here's the crazy thing. We're meeting with clients. When we do our financial lifestyle strategy, we find out money coming in, money going out. I'm like, okay, after you pay all your bills, how much discretionary income do you have remaining? They're like $200. They make $100,000. They only got $200 left over after they pay all their bills. I'm like, where is all your money going? Okay, you need to bring me your bank statements during our next meeting. And I'm going through their bank statements, money going out. They're stopping at the convenience store every single day, buying a Snickers bar and a Dr. Pepper.
Starbucks coffee 3 times a day.
300, 400, 500. Yeah. They're eating out. We're finding $1,000, $1,500 of just money they're blowing. Imagine if they put that money in, they change their discipline, their habits into better habits. They take that $1,000, that $1,500 per month, and they just start compounding.
Yeah.
Their life's going to forever change.
The thing that I see the most is, and this may go along with limiting beliefs as well, people are okay making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year and strapping their lives and living underneath their means. And there's nothing wrong with living underneath their means, right? We all should live within our means. But here's the difference. Here's the difference. If you have an opportunity to make $250,000 a year, $300,000, $400,000 and above, why would you want to live a life of limit and limitations? I had so many people say in the comments, well, you shouldn't have 2 cars. A family can live on 1 car. By God, why would you want to live on 1 car and have to borrow it and allow the other person to drive the car and not be free to go wherever you want in life? Okay, well, you don't have to go out to eat with your family. Okay, I understand that. But why wouldn't you want to go out to eat with your family? So what I see is people limiting their belief system to fit their budget rather than increasing their budget and increasing their intake and their income so that they can finally live the life that they truly desire. And I'm not talking about living crazy, going clubbing and partying and vacationing. But what I'm saying is, for so long, we have put ourselves in a box. Only live on $50,000 a year and don't live an expensive life. But how about we change our mindset a little bit?
Yes.
Make more money so that you can do the things that you truly desire to do, and you can give your children the life that they truly deserve. That's a hard word for some people.
100%.
Man.
It's everything is decisions. And with every decision, there's a consequence, whether positive or negative. But you got to be willing to live with that consequence. And, 20 years is going to pass us by, Mark. Whether we like it or not, we're going to be standing at a crossroads. And we're going to either like where we're at or we're not going to like where we're at. Correct. But where we're at that time is going to be exactly where we deserve to be. Because remember, a lot of people watching this episode, a lot of people who already have the knowledge, you know what to do. It's just you fail to apply the knowledge. You know that if you continue eating junk food, you're going to get fat. And when you get fat, it's going to lead to what? It's going to lead to heart failure. It's going to lead to diabetes, but you still continue to shove your mouth. Guys, you can't blame anybody but yourself. If you know there's a way to make more money, but you still call it a scam or a Ponzi scheme, or that sounds too good to be true, that's your own fault.
That's good stuff.
That's your own fault, guys. But as we begin to wrap up, I want to talk about one last thing, and that's mortgages real quick.
Yeah.
We see that in the mortgage industry, it's dealing with financial and limited beliefs. Over the past 2 years, 80% of their business was refinances. The interest rate was darn near 0%. And the reason I want to hit on this topic is because a lot of people are scared right now.
Right.
And I think the last 2 or 3 years, it lied to people. It made real estate professionals think they were better than they really were.
Sure.
Somebody who was used to making $5,000 started making $15,000, and they thought it was them. They thought, hey, man, I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
And now they're going from $15,000, $20,000 down to $5,000.
Back down to $5,000.
And then they're living beyond their means, like we've been talking about.
Right, because their lifestyle,
Correct.
They increased their lifestyle, but now they're getting cut back in their income, and they're in a tough position. And it's also giving them more limiting beliefs because it's making them feel like they're the issue.
It's kind of taking their self-esteem away,
yep.
their belief in their capabilities.
And it puts fear in their lives.
Yes.
Right now, there's a sentiment indicator in the market, and it tells us whether there's fear, greed, or on the positive side. Right now, we're in red, man. We're in fear. People are fearful of what's going to happen, especially in the housing market.
So think about this. We already know there's 3 million licensed real estate agents. There's less than 900,000 homes for sale on MLM. We see for an all-time 27-year high of drop-in mortgage applications being submitted. And the reason why is because everybody that's currently owning those homes, they don't want to sell because they're already in a lower locked-in rate. And as the feds continue to increase the interest rates, nobody wants to pay 7% on a $500,000 home. Because think about this. When interest rates were 2%, let's say 2-3% during the pandemic, that $500,000 home is going to cost you $2,000. That same $500,000 home at 6% is now costing you $3,000. You are already living paycheck to paycheck, trying to make ends meet to get into your dream home. You can't afford that extra $1,000 per month.
Correct.
So we're seeing a possible repeat of 2007, 2008, 2009 happen, where people just like you and I, we were putting for sale and foreclosure signs in the front yard because we got in over our heads. And it's not 100% our own fault, but we got decisions to make. Okay.
People are afraid. They're not sure if they should sell. They're not sure if they should buy. They're kind of in between right now. I have one of my best friends is a real estate agent, and he's currently hanging up his license to become just a referral agent at this point because he said even the top salesman in Greenwich, one of the richest cities in the country, is having a hard time. He said to me that one of the top agents in Greenwich right now, 5 sales dropped, and they pulled the carpet out of their, underneath where they were standing because they were scared to sell or they didn't get the price that they wanted. And so she lost 5 sales. She went from making probably $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month to like not making anything now. And so people are freaking out.
So what would you say to someone who may be in an industry right now where it doesn't look too bright, but they're looking to supplement income in between home sales, in between closings? What would you say to them?
Yeah, get a new skill. Go after the certifications. Find another trade that you can start to dip your feet into to kind of serve people in multi areas. We're in the insurance industry. One of the best things a realtor can do is get an insurance license. It's a beautiful complement to that industry because you can still serve the same type of client in different areas as you could with selling them a house. But now you can serve them even in between closings or when the market's super low. So I have a couple friends that are real estate agents. They're coming over to our side and they're getting licensed. It doesn't mean that they're giving up their career. It just means that they're supplementing and they're starting to build their arsenal of things that they can help clients with.
Absolutely.
You see it every day. We're hiring, we're bringing on agents and investors and, mortgage brokers and loan officers on a regular basis.
Yep, absolutely. So like you said, Mark, we're in the insurance industry. It's the wealthiest industry in the world. It's the number one industry most likely to make you a millionaire.
And don't take our word for it.
Yeah,
look up,
fact check everything we talk about.
Google it. What is the industry that will create the most millionaires? You'll see it comes up number one every single time.
And and as we begin to close this out, I just want to let people know that if you're not satisfied with how the year is turning out for you financially, if you're not satisfied how 2022 and the years previous turned out for you financially, what are you going to do to make sure 2023 is not a reflection of the previous years? Who do you have in your corner giving you the blueprint to 6 and 7 figures? What do you want in life? What type of life do you want? 5 years from now, what type of car are you driving? What type of house are you living in? What is your lifestyle? Where are you taking vacations? And if you want something different than what you already have, you got to make some different moves.
Right.
And you got to get in the game. You got to get in the arena of life and stop playing on the sidelines, guys. Right? Remember, winners get paid, right? And winners play where quitters quit. Think about that.
Yeah.
Everybody has the same opportunity in the United States of America, the land of opportunity.
Not the land of a job.
Not the land of a job,
Not
the land of opportunity.
9 to 5, land of $40,000 a year. It's not that.
Everybody wants the nice house. They want the nice car. They want the time freedom. They want the money stacked to the ceiling because they understand it's a tool and you can do some good things with the more money you have. But not everybody wants to pay the price for their dreams. And the price has to be paid in full up front. Ladies, you can't wear the red bottoms until you try them on and pay for them.
There you go.
You can't just wear them without paying for them first. Okay, fellas, the same thing. You can't get the lady without paying the price up front. Okay, just saying, guys. Yeah. So be willing to pay the price for your dreams and know that, hey, if something's going to change in my life, I can't wait on a handout. I gotta go out there and initiate it and make it happen, guys. But with that being said, guys. Any closing words?
No, I appreciate everybody that was watching or listening to this podcast. Do what you do best and give us your feedback. Let us know. Comment down below. Share this out to your social media networks so that we can get more eyeballs and more ears listening to this content because at the end of the day, we want to serve you guys. We want to provide the most value possible. So we thank you we're almost at 500 subscribers on YouTube. We got
a month.
Yeah. We got a couple hundred views, close to 1,000 views on first couple podcasts. So we thank you for that. Until the next episode, we appreciate you guys.